الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. All praise is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May his peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam and his entire household and companions and all of those who follow his path till the end of time. Very distinguished teacher, Dr. Abdul Hamid Badmasi, my friend who has turned himself to my teacher. I will not argue. He knows how we handle each other, so I believe we'll settle that one later. I don't want to cause another Shahari fight. Dr. Yusuf Dauda Gambari and all other distinguished lecturers of the Department of Religions, Islamic Studies Unit in absentia, very eminent students of this department, I salute every one of us with the best of salutations. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've been given just 20 minutes to present a talk on career opportunities in Islamic Studies, exploring diverse paths. Prior to this decade, especially, graduates of Islamic Studies have always been seen in the light of Olentele Afa because the available opportunities upon graduation are so limited that you are either a classroom teacher languishing in nursery primary schools or a secondary school IRK teacher. And some even have to jalabize their profession. They have to go on jalabi profession. Or you will be afforded anytime they have wedding ceremony, naming ceremony, those are the jobs that are available before you. But alhamdulillah, the trend is changing now. The world is beginning to see the value that graduates of this noble course can provide. Many people are shy of coming to the university to study Islamic studies. It's a fact. And I remember when I was a student, I was always shy to tell people I study Islamic studies. I was very shy. And I think for me, the reason was that when I finished secondary school, I had intended to go to BUK to study engineering or to come to Unilorin. I had my eyes on structural engineering. I believed at the time it was so lucrative, and I would be easily integrated into the wealth of the society. But my dad had a different dream for me. So he told me, you go to legal studies to study Arabic outside Islamic studies, and that is your path. Alhamdulillah, today I'm proud that I chose that path. And I pray that every one of you will also be proud of associating with this department. The dynamics are changing now. Alvin Toffler once said that the illiterates of the 21st century will not be people that can neither read nor write, but people that fail to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Another philosopher also said that the illiterates of the next generation will not be people that did not attend any academic environment, any academic institution. Allah wa sallam. Ayyakum Allah. That the semi-illiterates of the future will be people who have degrees but have no skills. And so this is why one of the things I'll be talking to you about this afternoon is skills acquisition to enhance your knowledge of Islamic studies. About last year, Professor Ali Isa Pantami, the ex-minister for communication, authored a book titled Skills Rather Than Just Degrees. And in that book, he explained why the gradual, I don't want to call it incursion, but the development of artificial intelligence is taking jobs from a whole lot of people. And if care is not taken, most of the things human can do, the machines can also do them, and so you'll be out of jobs. So you need to start thinking critically, how can I better my skills so that my degrees will not be worthless? I've highlighted a whole lot of things here. I've highlighted 20 things that I want to mention. If time permits me, inshallah, I would discuss them a little, inshallah. There are 3 ways by which, as a graduate of Islamic studies, you can make yourself relevant to the society you find yourself. 1, acquiring more degrees. That is, after your first degree, don't just sit down and say, well, alhamdulillah, first degree in Nigeria today is pure water sachet. Is as worthless as a sachet of pure water. There are so many first degree graduates in Nigeria. So the first thing you can do is to acquire more certificates. More certificates in 3 ways. Number 1, go for your master's and your PhD. You don't have to be a lecturer to have a PhD degree. You can have it. You can work anywhere with your PhD degree. Number 2, choose a diverse path that is related to Islamic studies in a way, but that is different from Islamic studies plainly. What are these diverse paths? For instance, if you have an interest in the judiciary, you want to be a qadi with the Qasi Sharia Court of Appeal or any Sharia Court of Appeal, you can acquire a law degree, because now one of the criteria for being a qadi in the Sharia Court of Appeal is that you must have a law degree. So you have the Islamic Studies degree, you can go for law degree, and then you work in the judiciary, the Islamic judiciary. You can also decide to go for certificate courses like courses in security, peace and security studies with your Islamic Studies degree, and then you'll be relevant in the area of peace and security studies. You can go for Islamic economic and finance in your master's degree. In 2010, I got an admission into the International Islamic University of Malaysia to study Islamic banking and finance. And I could have gone, but for the fact that I got a job a month before I could leave. I was supposed to resume in June. I got a job in May. So I said, so let me stay. So you can choose a diverse path. Islamic economic and finance is one of the fastest growing areas today, and you'll be relevant there. By your Islamic Studies degree, you will find it easy to understand Islamic finance, Islamic economic, Islamic banking system, and what awaits you. Tomorrow you can become a consultant, a financial expert, financial consultant. Professor Alaro studied law, but because he had a background in Islamic studies, today he's one of the consultants for CBN and other financial institutions in Nigeria. You can be relevant. You can also decide to go for another degree in public administration. In my university, ISS 412 is Islamic Governance and Public Administration. So you already have a background in Islamic Governance and Public Administration. By the time you acquire another degree in public administration, you can work in a place like the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILS, headed by Professor Suleiman, and a Lorry-born scholar. You can work there as an Islamic Studies graduate. You can also decide to go for a degree in data science, and you become a data expert, among other things. The second aspect is that you may decide to just acquire skills rather than go for more degrees. Skills in probably programming, in coding, and AI. You can acquire that kind of skills and enhance yourself. I will mention the job opportunities there. And then, of course, you can also decide that, no, I have had my degree, I want to work. And then whatever work you find yourself doing, that is your choice. But then, what are the areas that you can be relevant with your degree in Islamic studies? I mentioned earlier that you can decide to acquire certificate courses in AI, artificial intelligence, in computer coding, programming, and the likes. Number one, you can become an Islamic app developer. In 2020, one of the most lucrative jobs in the world was app development. There are so many companies abroad, so many institutions that are willing to finance people that can develop app. Islamic applications are short in supply compared to other aspects. You can, with your Islamic study background, acquire certificate in app development and begin to develop Islamic app. While I was coming here, I spoke with an app developer. A man was in the car with me. I said, can we work on developing an app that would detail the biography of at least 100 companions for a start? Short stories about the companions. As an app, our children can have that app. If they want to read about the Sahaba, very easy. Short stories about the Sahaba. You have the knowledge. All you need is to partner with somebody that has the skills, or you also learn the skills. You become an app developer. There is an app I'm using, Quranly. Maybe you know that app. Very efficient with Quran recitation. There are so many opportunities available. You can develop an app for our ladies to be able to track their menstruation, to be able to track their iddah, among other things. So this is one aspect you can find yourself relevant. There are also apps on zakat calculation. There is nothing wrong in having a million apps on zakat calculation, depending on its efficiency. We need apps on calculating inheritance, estates. Somebody dies, how do you calculate the estate? I know there are apps doing that, but there is nothing wrong in you developing your own as an app developer. And if your own is better than what other people have developed, then of course it becomes a source of sustenance for you, and that is a very lucrative job. Qibla finder, salat timing, among other things. The second thing I've also noted here is, with your degree in Islamic Studies, you can also have a side job in Islamic content creator. I am a content creator on YouTube. I have over 200 videos on YouTube. I have created content on how to bathe the corpse. I use myself as an example. I was bathed, I was shrouded, I was buried. And I paid 65,000 naira for the grave diggers to dig all the types of graves, lahadu, shaku, and of course the normal one you dig here around town, just to teach people how do you bathe corpse. If people like Sabinus, people like Bodashagi, among others, can be creating content for people to laugh and they are making millions, wallahi, with your knowledge of Islamic studies, you can be a millionaire with creating Islamic content. And it's very simple. All you need is a phone and a mic. Shikena. Just be creative. What aspect of Islam do I want to teach people? You can put it in a way that people will find it, engaging and enthralling. It's a very simple thing. I have done content on how to do tayammum. In fact, there was one I did. I was doing tayammum on a rusty transformer. People were laughing. If you go to my TikTok page, I have a video that was watched 4.5 million times. 4.5 million views. And I got those views within 1 month. I was on TikTok for just 3 weeks. I got everything they needed for monetization. If people want to do this thing that they are donating, I just don't use that app. All I did is go there, post my video and leave. And you see the engagement. Just go to YouTube and say, Sanusi Life again on YouTube. You see the videos. I have done videos on Salatul Marid. How should a sick person observe Salat? I was bandaged. I was given drip. Everything that will happen to a sick person, I demonstrated it in that video. So you don't need to read any fiqh book for that one. Just watch the video. Fiqh is already there. This is one aspect that you will be relevant. Many people today spend hours on their phones. You can engage them with that phone and you'll be making your money. Aman is here. I got my YouTube monetization within 3 months. Less than 3 months. I got my over 5,000. How many views? Is it 5,000 view hours? 4,000 watch hours, over 1,000 subscribers in less than 3 months because of the kind of content I'm creating. You will just sit down in your house, be creating content, let people be watching, and your dollar will be dropping every month. Video production is also another aspect. It's also related to this content creation, but the difference is that for content creation, you are creating probably just short videos. For video production, you may be creating long videos about Islamic sciences. When we're growing up, some of the videos we watch about the Sahaba, about the Prophet, there are people creating short videos today, even animated videos, to teach people about Islam. And they are being sponsored, they are being commissioned, they are being paid for doing all of these things. With your knowledge of Islamic studies, all you need to do is to engage, is to learn about animation production, video production, and you put your knowledge to use, and you'll be making your money rather than be doing classroom teacher IRK. You can also do freelance writer. I am a freelance writer. I write for people online. Now, there are companies that are in search of freelance writers. They engage you, they give you task, write, and when you write, they pay you. And most of these companies pay in foreign currencies. All you have to do is to polish your grammar. Be very good with English language. Let your spoken and written English be perfect. And you can do this by engaging what you call experts in English language. Learn, and you are a writer. Just be writing and you'll be making your money. They need you to write, maybe it could be a curriculum. You have seen professors in Islamic studies writing curriculum for National Open University of Nigeria, and they are being paid for that. They get their commission for doing this. So you can be working remotely with companies abroad as a freelance writer, and with your knowledge of Islamic studies, you are relevant, in that field. I've also mentioned judicial worker earlier. I just want to repeat it again, that with your certificate in Islamic studies, you can become a judicial worker. I have students, at least 6 of my students are working with Sharia Court of Appeal as we speak now. 6 of my ex-students. 6 of them. And one of my junior colleagues at Al-Hikmah is now an assistant registrar at that court. So you can work as a judicial worker, and you can rise through the ranks with your knowledge of Islamic studies and your certificate. For video production, I don't know, maybe you know a boy named N. Shuraim, Nasiruddin Shuraim. Nasiruddin Shuraim was my student at Al-Hikmah University. Today, he has a studio of his own in Abuja. Did you know? All he does is video creation, video production, interviews with scholars. And Shuraim now brings the likes of Mufti Ment, Abdurrahim Green, Abdul Hakim Quick, this our friend, Sheikh Asim Abdul Hakim. He brings them to Nigeria for one Ummah program. He is traveling everywhere now to interview scholars and produce videos on fatwa, on fiqh, on aspect of Islamic studies. This is also a lucrative aspect that will make you global and will also fetch you whatever others are getting from whatever they have studied. And your knowledge of Islamic studies will be put to better use. You can also decide to work as an estate distributor. One of my former students, now a colleague, Dr. Arikeoyo Al-Jawhari, has a center for estate distribution. In fact, he is teaching people how to distribute estate. He has a program, a course training for estate distribution. He has a center. That is a graduate of Islamic studies, with his degree in Islamic studies and his knowledge of estate distribution. He is now one of the most popular estate distributors around here. And of course, people will die all the time. So your job is safe. You cannot always be contracted when people die, and you do the estate distribution. That's another aspect. I've also mentioned here lecturing, of course, but this will need that you acquire more degrees in Islamic studies. You can see our teachers here. They pass through this same system, and today they are teachers. You can be like them. I finished from Islamic University in 2009. I was given a job in 2011 in the same department where I graduated. So my teachers became my colleague. Some of my students have now also become my colleagues. At least in that department, 3 of the lecturers we work together are my students that I taught in class. So it can be you. All you need to do is to acquire more certificates and know what you're doing. Dawah, you can also work as a dawah giver. Today, one of the most lucrative aspects, one of the most lucrative jobs abroad, wallah, is being a da'i or da'iyah or imam. You will see almost every year they publish advert on Facebook that in the US, in the UK, they need a dawah worker, a chaplain, or an imam. All they need you to have is knowledge of Islamic studies. So if you have the degree and you have the knowledge, hifz the Quran, knowledge of hadith, knowledge of fiqh, is a very lucrative thing. I know people that have stayed in the US for over 20 years working as imam and a dawah practitioner. Also, I mentioned here Islamic art and calligraphy. It's also another aspect of Islamic studies where you can be very relevant. One of the things we learn in Islamic studies is Islamic art and calligraphy. Today, many people need people that can work as calligraphers or designers, either for their mosques or for their homes or for their institutions. With your knowledge of Islamic studies, you can be relevant in this field, and it is a very lucrative one. You enter some mosques, you see the designs on those mosques. You see the designs around the mosque. Many of these designs are not done by people that study Islamic studies, but you even have the knowledge, you have the expertise, you can be relevant if you acquire the relevant certificate. I also mentioned here counseling. Maybe many of you don't know Shamsuddin Giwa on Facebook. How many of you know him on Facebook? We attended Al-Hikmah together. He didn't study Islamic studies. I think he did Bizadme or economics. I think one of those courses. But today, Shamsuddin Giwa is making hundreds of thousands of naira working as a counselor. And he is not even an Islamic studies person. So what about you that study Islamic studies? Somebody that will need to consult an affair. Yet, the last time I had, I think for one session, and I think one session is just 1 hour, he books, he charges 100,000 naira to counsel you. Now you get problem. Oh. He just want to talk to you about your problem. You pay 100,000. As an Islamic studies graduate, wallah, you can develop your skills in the counseling field and you'll be making your money there. People today need counselors. People go to university to study guidance and counseling. With your Islamic studies, you can be a good counselor in the aspects of Islam, especially for marriage, among other things. I've also mentioned here digital journalism. There is a news outlet called the Muslim News, one of the fastest growing Muslim platforms today. You see, the Muslim News is about content about Muslims, what is happening to the Muslims in Nigeria and in the world. As a graduate of Islamic studies, you have an opportunity to work in the media world as a representative of Islam, gathering news, analyzing them, and even serving as a critique. You can be a writer for newspapers and blogs. I used to write for a newspaper medium every Friday, right? You can also work in the radio station, in television station, as a journalist with Islamic studies knowledge. My own teacher, Professor Aliagan, started at where? Radio Kwara. He still works with the media till date, but from Radio Kwara, he came to Uni Ilorin because they need people that have Islamic studies background for Islamic programs. So as an Islamic studies graduate, you can work with either the print media or the electronic media as a media expert. I understand. You can also work in the area of web design. Now, there are so many institutions, so many companies that need a web designer, and especially those that have Islamic orientation. With your knowledge of web design, with your knowledge of programming, among other things, you can be relevant in this field. I have also mentioned here Hajj and Umrah tour guide. Now, one of the ways through which people make millions every year is by serving as a tour guide for Hajj and Umrah pilgrims. I have friends that work with such companies. They are the face of the company. Whenever they want to perform Hajj or Umrah, they engage them and they pay them in foreign currencies. So within a year, if you perform Hajj with them 2-3 times, you can make as much as 4-5 millions. Number one, you get free tickets to go for Hajj or Umrah. Number two, you get your extra codes. So it's also a very lucrative aspect that you can venture in with your Islamic Studies certificate. I've also mentioned here consultancy services such as an Islamic expert, Islamic finance, Islamic economic, among other things. I've also mentioned here diplomatic relations. As a graduate of Islamic Studies, if, for instance, you acquire another certificate in public administration or peace and security studies, you can work as a diplomat. As a diplomat, from Nigeria to countries that are Muslim countries. And you can also work, like I mentioned earlier, in the institution, the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies with your Islamic Studies degree. I've also discussed curriculum developer, that is an aspect, but I've also mentioned the translation of manuscripts. Our teacher, Dr. Abdul Hamid, recently translated a work written by Professor Abdul Hamid Akuridi Agbari Didoma. I've also seen a work by Dr. Shitu, right, on fatwa of Sheikh Mumbaz. With your Islamic Studies degree, you can be a manuscript translator. Because if you understand Arabic, you have a good background in Arabic, you can just be translating words from Arabic into English. Look at Abu Nasir, for example. One of the things he does is to translate manuscript, yet he didn't study Islamic Studies. What about you that study Islamic Studies and you know the Konkodo of Islam? So it's a very lucrative aspect if you indeed want to venture into it. The last 2 points. Number one is the issue of typing and printing of Islamic materials. Now, this can serve as a side hustle. With your Islamic Studies knowledge, you can also have an institute where people can come to type and print Islamic materials. I know Professor Quadri has his own publication company, Sebi Otima or thereabout, in I think Ijebu. Good. This, with your knowledge of Islamic Studies, people will know that whatever manuscript they bring to your company is in safe hands. You don't need to do any dogon editing like you do when you give your work to somebody that studied economics or did not even go to school at all. So, with your knowledge of Islamic Studies, you can venture into this aspect as your side hustle and you'll be fine with it. And finally, on the point is by having online institutes. Now, what do I mean by online institutes? One of the ways through which people today are diversifying their economy is by having online classes. I know people, some of my students, that are making over $500,000 every month from online classes. Wallahi. There are people in the US, in the UK, that need Quran tutor for their children. Some need fiqh tutors for their children. I know people that contacted me that I should also organize classes for them. And they are paying them well. Ahmad here also has an online Quran institute where he teaches people. And with this, you will just have a side work. Whatever work you are doing with your degree, this can also serve as a means of your means of boosting your economy. People need you, wallahi, in the world today. They need your expertise. Enough of producing graduates that will only be relevant in Jalabi studies. Enough of producing graduates that will only be oriented with your first degree. Enough of all of this. What we need are critical thinking people that can look beyond their degrees, develop skills, and be able to provide for themselves and make their degrees relevant wherever they find themselves. My sincere prayer is that as you prepare to graduate, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your degrees. May Allah increase you in knowledge. Dr. Abdulhamid, pray that may you not have carryovers and spillovers. I also pray for you that as you prepare to write your exams, may Allah guide your hearts, may Allah guide your hands, and may Allah put His rahmah in the minds and hearts of the lecturers that will mark your script. After writing exam, you should always pray that whenever it is time to mark your script, may the lecturers not be troubled. Because if their wives give them trouble at home, may God help you. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.